Yo, in this tutorial, I'll be breaking down this crazy thunder effect inside of After Effects. I'll show you how you can make it look as realistic as possible, and I'll also provide the thunder overlay linked in the description. But before we get into the tutorial, I just want to let you guys know that I just dropped a new update to my VFX Kit plugin, and the plugin itself already had 175 effects that you guys loved. But for the new version, we added an AI assistant that can automatically add VFX to a music video. Simply all you need to do is type in the style that you want, and the AI will get to work. I'll leave the link to VFX Kit 2.0 so you can check it out after this tutorial, but let's get right into it. So I'm right here in After Effects and I got this King Von music video, and this scene fits perfectly because we can see this guy, so it will be easy for us to add the overlay. Only negative part is he's wearing black clothes on a black background, so it will be kind of hard to mask him out. But let's grab the rotor brush tool, set the quality to full, and we can start trying to mask him out. As you can see, it's having some difficulties recognizing where his hood ends. If you're also facing an issue like this, one thing you can do to fix it is adding brightness and contrast, just to drag up the brightness, make it a little bit more visible, and also drag up the contrast a bit. And with the brightness turned up, yeah, you can see it makes a huge difference. Now just pre-compose this, move all attributes, and grab the rotor brush tool again. Now we can mask him out, and then we'll just go back and remove this effect after. You can see it's already making a huge difference. It's a bit easier for After Effects to follow along, but you can see the edges are still a little bit rough, but we'll mess with that in a second. So I just finished masking them out and it looks great. What I'll do to make the edges a little bit smoother is adding this Refine Soft Matte effect. Turn down the additional edge radius to 4, and let's turn up the feather. Go for something pretty high right here. Let's go for 12. So this before and after, just a little bit smoother. We can turn up the additional edge radius a bit as well. Yeah, that's good. Now I'll go back in here and remove the brightness and contrast. Let's see, just hope that it doesn't mess up. And before we actually remove the brightness and contrast, I want to freeze this mask real quick, just so it doesn't mess up later. So now that we've frozen the mask, all I need to do is go into the pre-comp, remove the brightness and contrast, and then we can start adding these effects. So I'll duplicate this layer, remove every single effect from the background layer. So now we got our subject in here. And in between these layers is where I'll have the thunder overlay in just a second. But first thing we got to do is just camera track this scene. So I'll open up the tracker tab. If you can't find it, go to window and click tracker right here. But let's select the track camera and let After Effects just track our scene for a couple minutes. So we just finished tracking, and you can see we have some really small tracking points right there. So what we can do is we can either just drag up the point size so you can see a bit more visibly. And if you don't have any points that you're happy with, which is kind of the way that I'm feeling right now, you can go in here and select detail analysis, and it will just analyze the scene once again, but it will give you a much more detailed analysis this time. So my tracking is still pretty messed up. So what I'll do is I'll turn on the brightness and contrast in the clip the same way that we did for the rotoscope, and then I'll track it once again. So now that I've tracked my scene, I want to pick one of these points that I'm happy with. Like this one right here stays all the way throughout the scene from the start to the finish. And when you found one that you want to go with, just right click on it, add a solid and a camera. Now this solid is not visible right now because it's way too small. So what we want to do is pre-compose it, leave all attributes in the composition, and then go right here to the project settings and find the solid, change the quality of it, and change the quality of it to 1920 by 1080 or 4K if you're working on a 4K project. And then go into this pre-comp, place your overlay right there, and then we can go back to the normal comp. Now as you can see, we have the overlay right here, but it's still pretty small. So what I want to do is I want to size it up, and we will also place it like behind our subject right there. And as you can see, it's a bit too big right now, but that won't matter in a second because we'll mask it out like this using the rectangle tool. And then we'll add a huge feather here to make it smooth and move it in a little bit like that. Yes, sir. Just like that. And then do the same for the right and the left side. Maybe not the right one because that will be out of frame either way, so it doesn't really matter. But this is kind of what we want to go for, just like that. And then we can duplicate this, place it on the other side as well. We just got to tweak the mask a little bit like that. Move this one out, and then we can size them up a little bit more, and you can make them play at like different times so they're not like exactly timed at the same time. And then one issue that we have is that we have these kind of black borders, and the sky is not supposed to go over the black borders. So I'll create a new solid or a new adjustment layer, and add the crop edges effect. And I'll remove the right and left one and just leave the top and the bottom, and then drag them down until they fit the way that they're supposed to, like that. And then I gotta tweak this mask a little bit, move it up. Let's move it up by a lot, just like that, and then we can move the overlay down itself. And now we also gotta change the view mode of this overlay to lighten for both of them. We can actually do screen instead, and we'll turn down the opacity of them to like something a little bit lower. And as you can see, they're covered by the black bars, so I'll move them down a lot and mess with the mask whenever I do that, just like that. And before we tweak any of the effects, this is what we got. Now I'll add a curve effect onto these overlays, and we'll go for a simple S curve, just like that. And I'll copy that onto the next one as well. Now we do have a few things like the buildings right there that we also don't want the overlay to cover. So what I'll do is I'll duplicate this layer, place it on top of these, and I'll add a Luma key, and we can remove the camera tracker. And for the Luma key, let's select key out darker, and we can move it up to something like this. And then we'll have those things come back in. As you can see, like the light is not being covered by the overlay. Same with the building. So most of these bright stuff is still visible. And to these overlays, I'll also add on a color balance HLS effect. And I'll set the hue to -14. And I'll turn up the saturation to 24 and paste it onto the next one as well, just to get this kind of blue look. Kind of matches my scene. And then one final thing I want to do is whenever these lightning strikes hit, I want to have an adjustment layer on top with the exposure effect. So whenever this scene is kind of lightening up, like right here, for example, we want to keyframe the exposure from 0. And then here when it hits, we want to turn it up. Like, don't have to do anything too crazy. Let's do 1.2. And then when it goes back down, we'll turn it down to 0. So we can make it look a little bit realistic. As you can see for this one, it looks like the scene is lighting up. And then we'll do the same like right here. It's like a smaller hit, so we'll make it a bit softer. Let's go for 0.5, down to 0 right there. Then here we can do a bit bigger, and then turn it down to 0. And yeah, you get the point. Just keep doing the same thing whenever it hits. And that's basically it. If you want to, you can also add on a deep glow onto these overlays. Just a subtle one. Make sure to turn down the exposure and turn up the radius, because that's what I feel looks best. And I'll paste it onto the next one as well, just to make it a little bit brighter whenever it kind of hits. It's a pretty cool effect. I'm a huge fan of this, but that's pretty much it. Like I said, the VFX Kit 2.0 is out, and I'll leave it linked to the description so you can check it out for yourself. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.